I hope you're having an amazing day. My name is Colin, and in this video, we're going to have a complete review on the Stacks token and, of course, a complete price prediction. Let me know in the comments down below where you think this token could go this cycle, but what's going to happen in 2025. First, we have to zoom out, right? Infrastructure tech usually deals with higher valuations, and we can see that here currently sitting at a fully diluted valuation of $1.3 billion. Market cap also $1.3 billion, indicating to us that there's 100% circulating supply. When we look at the journey it has gone through, it looks like just off the chart alone that there's quite some opportunity here. Right, being launched in 2019 at around 20 cents. It saw its first upward linear trend in the preempted run 2021, and then late 2021 it had another pump to similar levels. This was like $2, $2.20, $2.50, basically doing a 12x from its original starting point on the chart here. Now it's sitting at 70 cents. So there's definitely a lot of room. However, we need to progress on the timeline. Then it basically pulled back during the 2002 start of the bear market, sitting at 22 cents, 28 cents, all the way to 90 cents a dollar, upwards 2023. Then in end of 2023, so quite a bit of time has gone by, right? The majority of the bear market, it was sitting at a decent level, obviously 90% down of where it originally was, significantly down from its local all-time high here. There was a significant rally here in the start of 2024, right? Reaching a new all-time high, and it has not seen that all-time high since $3.60. At $3.60, this token would be, $6 billion FDV, which would be, a significant mark. Then there was a little bit of a load off period until basically March, where the price stabilized kind of where it is right now. So in the last year, you can definitely see here the red trend. It is still a little bit underwater to where it was before. Exchanges listed: Binance, Bybit, Coinbase, Upbit, OKX. So you can't really get better exchanges, and you can see this represented in the daily volume, right? The volume is always high. At the lowest point is like 19 million, 12 million, 17 million on like really slow days. On high days, we're looking at like 84 million, 118 million, very significant. So there's opportunity. Why is there opportunity here? If we go to the social media, the page has been up since 2015, right? 241,000 followers. Usually we see these extremely high follower counts with pages of tokens that come before 2021 or around that period. Now, what we're noticing is an extremely active Twitter, right? This was posted 14 hours ago. They retweeted it. It's posted 16 hours ago, getting decent impressions, a little bit low engagement, but things like this get like perfect engagement for the status that the project is currently at. And they keep posting on a continuous basis. They're hosting a DeFi show. So although when we take a closer look at the project in a second, this is a little bit boring for retail users, it's infrastructure tech, there seems to be quite enough engagement, interest, and an important component here is obviously education, right? The education part allows for retail users to come in, understand things better, and potentially provide their liquidity in terms of money to buy the token, right? So yeah, on the Twitter side, we're good. When we go to the Stacks website, we can see it's very dry, right? Activate the Bitcoin economy with leading Bitcoin layer 2. Now, this is where I think things get interesting. I have worked myself on several Bitcoin layer 2 projects, big ones, that are all three of them yet to TGE, but these are significant high valuation projects, right? 500 million to a billion FDV. And the interesting component where I can truly say like there's a lot of room for Stacks to grow, which I don't usually say on all tokens, right, is because of the fact that the framework around Bitcoin as being just a token, they're basically building tech around it that allows for entrepreneurs, for projects to make the Bitcoin tech accessible, which wasn't before, right? Now, of course, with the amount of liquidity available there, we saw projects like Babylon with their TVL, right? So TVL, if we look at Babylon TVL, on DeFi Llama, $5 billion, and that's all Bitcoin, right? Very significant. And then there's other protocols, right? So overall, I think it's like extremely significant. Like we're talking like 43,000 Bitcoin, right? At the all-time high here, it was 57,000 Bitcoin that was basically locked there on the platform. Now, there's a tremendous amount of liquidity available. Now, there's a ton of apps coming slowly over time, but the quality is getting a lot better because the tech is getting a lot better in terms of what is accessible. So we have Stacks, you got Babylon, you got projects like Portal to Bitcoin, Build on Bitcoin, Bitcoin OS, like all these type of Bitcoin infrastructure tech projects that allow for the scale. Now, what I think is interesting is if we're currently sitting at a 1.3 billion valuation, because they were probably like a big front runner, looking at how the tech has progressed according to my knowledge, this project wasn't always a Bitcoin layer 2. Let me see, mainnet, connecting Bitcoin with smart contracts. Okay, so they made an upgrade, Bitcoin integration, so the tech progressed, right? SEC drops their investigation. Oh, okay, because they were one of the early ones, and that's like we see some pumps. Yeah, very good. So they've always been around there, but you can see they made several iterations, several upgrades in order to basically progress right through that innovative tech part that keeps on going. Now, what actually does it do, right? You can go here, and then it basically provides you with updates what we're doing, right? So 60% stablecoin APY, top 20, blah, 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 developer rankings, and you basically get all the news, what's going on. They set up a Stacks Trust under Grayscale, right, which is a big asset manager. There's a variety of different things. Now, obviously, the deeper you go into like these tech-heavy infra tech projects, the more complex it becomes. Doesn't have to be too complex for us, right? What do we really want to know? We want to know if the projects are looking like this, where can it go? Okay, so Babylon's token is called Baby, right? They have the TVO component. They had initially they opened at, because it was like basically day one all-time high, and then they kind of crashed 16, so 3 times 600 mil, right? They had Binance, Bybit, Upbit, kind of the same stack, right? But this wasn't too long ago. So this is not the actual project that I worked on. I would have loved to work on this one, but I didn't. This was April 2025, right? So here it was listed on Upbit, and it's seen a little bit of an upward linear trend. Binance Spot, BitThumb Spot already, right? Now, it's still on the 66 mil, a lot of value there, and a 670 mil FDV. So not all tokens are unlocked. So the FDV is kind of what we want to look at, not the market cap. So at this point, it was basically overall at about a 1.8 billion FDV. And before I was looking at the market cap, but I should have looked here, which is obviously quite significant, right? Now, Stacks is in a better position because at the moment, all the tokens, according to this overview, are in circulation, meaning that there's no additional sell pressure from investors that can basically surprise us and drag the price down, right? There are some locked tokens, as you can see, 13%. But these are not being overviewed in a chart. Perhaps these are allocated to the team, etc. Not direct sell pressure from investors, but there would have to be definitely a deeper dive in terms of, you know, what the sell pressure could be over time. Right now, we just want to get an indication, you know, where could this go? So the assumption is this. There's some big competitors coming out in the Bitcoin market, which will drag attention to the Bitcoin ecosystems, right? Then Bitcoin price keeps pumping. It's getting more and more accessible, right? In terms of the other day, you know, the 401k improvements, regulatory environment easing up, and Bitcoin has basically seen quite a good run over the last period of time, right? Here, a good run, 55k up, pretty stable, very good. Now, what would that mean for ecosystems trying to enhance that? I think that would mean, my assumption here would be that that complements that, right? So what would then be realistic, right? Okay, so at the all-time high, this was like 6.8, but we're really looking to ramp it up. So it depends. I think we will be looking at like a little bit more ambitious, but I mean, a 6x is already really good, you know? Compared to something like Babylon, which was 1.8 billion FDV and then went down significantly, would I make the bet on an older or newer one? Probably an older one. Perhaps the launch period wasn't too good, right? And this have basically, you know, endured the test of time. Brings it in the mark around 10 billion FDV, probably a little bit higher. It is really dependent though. They have to be able to break through the noise during, you know, altcoin season, bull market vibes, which all stems around the fact that they need to be able to roll out consistent updates, not just tweet things about Bitcoin and how it's great. The projects building using their tech, these projects need to do well for them to do well. And that's usually always the case with a layer 2, right? Whether it's, you know, EVM layer 2 style, or in this case, a Bitcoin layer 2, the tech needs to be solid. Well, they have had a ton of power, right? In terms of time, funding, stability, right? To make that happen. So I think there's opportunities there. So overall, my estimate for the price in this prediction would be 10 billion. I would say I wouldn't become overly speculative, just because I would want to see first what these other competitors are going to do in this market. Like I said, there's 3-4 big of these Bitcoin projects. You also have BitLayer coming to market. And they will also obviously draw some liquidity out, maybe bring more liquidity in. And that's like short, medium term. So if you want to make a long-term bet, I would say look at that, and then you can make a more solid decision. For 2025, I think that is the way to go. If you have a different opinion, I would love to hear about it, and let me know in the comments down below. I'll make sure to have a look. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.